Hey guys, how you going today? Another quick video for you today, and we're going to see what we can do with our little friend Gorfang Rotgut. Put him in the picture there. So yeah, I've already started him a few weeks back, or maybe a month ago or so, and so we've still got plenty more to do on him, so we can still use parts of him in our tutorial. That would be no problem at all. And so I thought today we could start doing the fur. I did drill a hole using a 1mm drill bit into the back of his cloak there to attach a banner pole that we'll do and work on in a totally separate video. I just want to paint him first, and then that way I can got some time to think about what I'm going to do with the banner pole there and how we're going to approach that. Right, so I've just got some of this Arabic shadow, which is kind of like a snake bite leather kind of colour that I want to use as a base. I'm using a lighter brown because I want to go from light to dark on the cloak, and I'm just going to apply that straight to the cloak there. Yeah, you may notice I like using a white primed miniature. The reason for that is that after many years working with grey primers, either dark or light primers, grey primers, I wanted to go back to using white just for a change to see what the difference was, or if I found it better to use a white primer, because I hadn't used a white primer for so long since I sort of started painting Games Workshop miniatures and back in the day. And then for whatever reason, other influences at the time, maybe people were using grey primers at that stage, so I just sort of followed suit and just used grey primers and sort of never looked back. I started using like really light grey primers and then dark grey primers. And now I've sort of just gone full circle, went back to white. I didn't really use black that much. Some people really prefer using black. But I find black just really difficult to see a lot of the details and that kind of thing on miniatures with black. So white has been sort of revolutionary in that sense. It's sort of made me enjoy the painting process a lot more. I think people tend to go for dark colours because they've already got like the shadows and the outlines of the details already mapped out for them, but I think you can do it easily with a white undercoat. I don't think it saves that much time. Personally, but yeah, I suppose it's just down to people's personal taste. Let me know what kind of primer you like to use on your miniatures, which one do you prefer and why. I suppose it's good to get experience with all different kinds of coloured primers. Maybe you like using a different coloured one altogether, like a yellow or a brown primer or something on your miniatures. So we're going to let that dry. I'm gonna show a photo of Gorfang from the army book at the start of the video, so that you can see what the studio version, how it was painted, and I'm trying to get something that's kind of similar to it, even though I'm using a non-metallic metal technique, which I need to touch up on, because looking at it, it looks like it's quite sketched in, and there's I can already see a bit of metal coming through, so there's a bit of a chip there. I did drill a hole into his fist, on the side of his fist there. For the shield, I've got a shield that's the same shape that I want to use for him to paint that wonderful, the evil sun's symbol on there. It'll be the same sort of motif on his banner as well. So I look forward to doing those. They'll be quite fun. Now, looking at that, looks like the cloak will also come through here. We've got the paint fairly watered down to really thin consistency. I'm going to keep it quite light. Yeah, so I'll let that dry for a bit. Okay, so in the meantime we can work on something else. Now those, the brace that's on his arm, that wrist brace, I know that's going to be black. I know the sword hilt would be black. The butt of the hilt will be gold colour. I've just got the book here to reference as I go along, as I don't want to paint something and find out it's the wrong colour and go back again. And I'm going to have to do something about this with this camera, arm that I'm using to hold my phone on, because it's really drooping so low that it's really hard to do the videos at the moment. So I'm going to have to think about what alternatives are out there to get that fixed, as I'm doing these now daily. Maybe that's why, because the daily use of it, it's actually worn out. It's probably worn out this arm on the video. Okay, so now let's do those parts in the black that we need to do, because you've got some parts that are red, some parts that are black, some parts that are green. So let's grab some black. So I hope you guys had a good day today and you're keeping well, and you got to do some hobby time maybe. It's Friday, but I suppose it's like Thursday in most other countries in the Northern Hemisphere. But as I probably did mention, and thank you for people who gave me the birthday wishes. It was my birthday today, and I got to spend it with my family, which is nice, as my wife took the day off from work, and we had a pretty relaxing day. Went out for a nice curry for lunch, which I haven't had a curry for a while because the shop had been closed for a while, so it was good to catch up with those people again, see how they were doing, and did a bit of shopping, and then just relaxed at home, had a bit of a nap in the afternoon. Played around with my son. I didn't get to play any PlayStation games, even though I downloaded some, and I don't know if I've mentioned it, but at the moment the PlayStation Store has the stay-at-home offer at the moment, which gives you four free games. Three are the Uncharted series 1, 2 and 3, and you also get a Journey as free downloads. So if you weren't aware of that, and you do have a PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4, yeah, well, you can download those for free, and you can, that doesn't cost you anything. Just keep them on your hard drive if you haven't got time to play them now. And which I really enjoy. I really enjoyed the Uncharted series. I played all of them. I got the latest game, and really enjoyed that as well. So if you're into video games, I don't really play that much, to be honest. If I'm to be really honest, I did play for a long time. I played what's called Pro Evolution Soccer in Australia and the UK and the US. It's called Winning 11 here in Japan. It's by Konami. That's the company that made it, or still makes it. And as I do like my football, English football, and European football, English football mostly. Yeah, I was quite addicted to playing those games in Final Fantasy back in the day, like Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, 9. Never completed 10. 11 was an online game, I believe, and 12 was really good actually. I really enjoyed that. I know they've got a remastered version now on the PS4 you can buy. But really enjoyed those games. Never finished 12 actually. I got to the end and I just couldn't finish it. I couldn't beat the boss at the end, or couldn't even get to the boss. I think I just got to the stage where whatever I was fighting, they were always continuously beating me, and I just gave up in the end, I think. And I think I was using a mate's PS2 at the time, so I had to actually eventually return it and never got to finish it. I just don't have time to play games these days. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I just don't have the time or the will, mostly because you know, if you have to constantly repeat things because, you know, the AI beats you or whatever, and you've got to, it's like a rinse repeat kind of you know, like you got to replay events in order to reach a certain stage in the game or whatever. Yeah, it just doesn't really do much for me anymore. I like those games which are more like a cinematic experience, where you get involved with the narrative and the characters, and it sort of evolves as it goes along, like the Uncharted series or Tomb Raider. Just doing some black lining, just with my size 0 brush that everybody's in the chance to win. Thank you for your comments, guys. I'll probably do one every now and again, not every 100 subscribers like I said initially. I think I'll just do one every now and again, just if I've got some kind of interesting like a question or some kind of thing that can be sort of more interactive within the community, then that'll be great, and then that way we can have one every now and again. So people did start replying to the question about their favourite character in the Warhammer, or the Hero Hammer Age of Warhammer, and got some nice responses there. And yeah, I think everybody has their own sort of, maybe it's hard to define one particular character. You know, I said Bugman, but you know, I like many characters. I like Gorfang, for example, and Gorfang was a miniature that I never had until recently. Actually, never had the model, and it wasn't until this whole resurgence of buying the old classic models again that I found him as part of a deal with with other miniatures like a war machine, a bolt thrower, and some other models that I was missing in my collection that I could obtain him and now paint him. So as paint's drying, you can go and do other things, or if you're doing sort of like a rank and file kind of sort of setup, then you can, you know, just keep alternating between the different miniatures and switch between one and the other, and continue that way. But you know, if I played video games, I wouldn't get this done. Like, this would never get done. But I can understand why people play them, because yeah, if that's your thing, and I really love, you know, games, you know, digital and analog games, and it's easy because, you know, you don't need another person most of the time. You can just play against the computer, or but the most recent games I've got Thronebreaker, which is part of the Witcher Tales series, which is a really good game. I'm sort of maybe halfway through that, I think, and I play that from time to time. Recently got the Banner Saga series, like the trilogy for that. I really enjoyed those, playing that on my phone back in the day, and played the first one, didn't finish the second one, my phone died, and never played the third one, so I've got that now. So I look forward to getting stuck into those at some point, maybe during the holidays. Now that I've got a couple of weeks off, I can get some time to do that. I might try Journey tomorrow if I have time. I was going to do it tonight, and I thought, nah, I want to get stuck into my painting projects, and otherwise I'll feel bad about it later that I had that time to do it. Now my son's sleeping, and I didn't do it. So yeah, I want to get stuff done. I really want to get things completed. So And some people might say, well, they were painted before, why are you repainting stuff, or why are you rebasing stuff? And that's a good question. I mean, they were based, they were painted before. I could have just left them and gone into other things, but I feel really good now that my orcs are getting, you know, rebased and goblin greened, so to speak, and you know, just really touching them up and that kind of thing. It just feels so much better now that they're in the cabinet, and yeah, the goblin green is sort of lifting up all the colours of all the miniatures in there now, with all that dark, you know, black rim bases and dark green coloured tops of the bases. It sort of, you know, it made everything look quite drab and dark. So yeah, I quite like the change. It's been good, and change is good sometimes. So as that's, you know, I'll just take a break from that just quickly. I'll just show you the Wyvern. If I can get on the camera and get it to focus, but yeah, I mean, that's going to be like really too close. It's this camera arm that's holding my phone that's way too close, and I can't get it to stay up anymore. But yeah, I've sort of gone back over this one. I pulled it off its original base, and I'm going to rebase it. And I started adding a lot of lighter colours, a lot of yellows on his legs and on his nose where it's supposed to be yellow there, trying to replicate the studio colour scheme more. I don't know why I didn't do that originally. I don't know what was going through my mind originally, but yeah, it was really dark. And even the rider, which was undergoing a big redo at the moment, so I was really quite surprised how many things I'd missed and how rough it was. I think I was just trying to paint it in a hurry to make it into a online painting competition, which is not really a competition as such. It's just something on the Middle Hammer group that they run every now and again, and for whatever reason it was like green skins or character models or something like that, or I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I really wanted to get it finished. Now obviously this is quite different from the original Marauder Shaman that was on the Wyvern. That's because I asked Kev Adams to specifically design it to be more like Azag with the Crown of Sorcery, and he added lots of detail around the midriff here, like this face design that he added on there, and he changed the top of this totem pole, or whatever you want to call it, the voodoo doll. Maybe it's a better description of it, but yeah, great job from Kev, and I really want to do it justice. So I started going over the green skin already, and that green skin tutorial will come up. I know people have been asking about it, what colours did I use and that kind of thing. I want to do it on a new miniature, not on these older type miniatures, but on a fresh new miniature. So yeah, please wait for that. That's coming soon. I just need to prep up a miniature and get it primed tomorrow. So yeah, I'll keep you updated with the progress on my sort of redo of my orc and goblin army from time to time. But I'm doing my black orcs now, and just started rebasing those before making this video, and adding some goblin green onto their bases. So they're underway. They're not actually they're not the actual original models that Perry's did. The models I'm using for my black orcs are the ones from Harlequin Miniatures. Like that's one of them that Kev designed for them when he worked for them back in the day. After he left Games Workshop, he went to Harlequin Miniatures, and he designed a whole heap of orcs for them. So they're quite big and large, and I thought they were quite cool as the black orcs. So yeah, they're getting a big update basically, and so I look forward to them getting finished. All right, so back to Gorfang. So next up, we're going to maybe go back to his cloak. I think the cloak's now dry, so we're going to add. Now we start off with quite a light brown, so now I'm going to add some darker colours to that cloak, as we want to progressively make it darker towards the bottom. So we're going to get some ink, some sepia ink, brown ink. Wouldn't come out too much, so there you go. And Take some whole red as well. And you notice too, when I put my colors on the palette, I put all the browns and darker colors in one section, maybe greens in one, reds in one, grays in the other, just to keep them separate. So if, like, you know, if my whole red went into my ink, if that's on camera, sorry if it's not, if my whole red, you know, bled into the ink, it wouldn't be such a bad thing, you know, I could get away with that. And but if blue went into that, then, you know, that wouldn't be so good. I'm going to just mix some of that ink in with the whole red. And I'm just going to use that as a wash, starting from the bottom. Yeah, the idea being that I just want the cloak to be quite dark, almost black at the bottom and sort of lighter at the top. Just dipping my brush into the water and just feathering the ink up into the cloak there. It's a bit wobbly in his base, I need to fix that. He's just blue tacked to a bit of cork. Okay, so that's the first one. Now that's going to take quite some time to dry, so we'll need to work on something else as that's drying. Right, now, well, let's do this wristband up here, and we can work on that as that's drying. Now, when I think Mike McVeigh originally painted this, he added some little flame sort of motif symbols on there, little freehand. Yeah, looking at the picture now, I can see those. So the outside of the bands are red, and he's got some, the skulls are of course the sort of like bone colour. So let's do that nice and bright, those bones. I'm just going to get some, this bone colour, what's it called? Bone white. What was it called originally? The Citadel colour. Was it called, wasn't called Skull White, because Skull White was white. So, was it the same name? I don't know. I know the Vallejo, like the Vallejo model colour, they changed all the names. So I really apologise if I don't get it under the camera all the time. It's really difficult. I need to really get that a new sort of arm, or what do you want to call it, some kind of something that's going to hold my camera, my phone I should say. I keep calling it a camera, it's actually my phone. As I said, I do everything out of my phone. I don't have any sort of high-tech equipment as such. And the phone's worked quite well so far. I can edit everything through my phone, upload everything on my phone. So if you have a phone, you can do the same thing. You know, start creating your own content, why not? I know a few of the guys are doing that at the moment anyway, but there's nothing to stop you doing it. It doesn't have to be painting, it could be anything. It could be maybe creating your own scenarios. It could be like your favorite army builds, or just showcasing your army. Maybe it's some kind of storytelling project that you have, or maybe you've made up your own characters or something in the Warhammer world, or things like that maybe you want to share with the community. I'm just going to take a quick swig of something nice and cold, a cold beverage, in this Ballantines glass. Now, oh, and I've got Netflix too today. I finally subscribed to it. I thought I'd do another. I usually take like a 4-month break and then I subscribe for 1 month and then watch everything I need to watch and then quit it after that. So I think I've heard so much about this Tiger King that I felt compelled to go and watch it. So I have seen him before on maybe I think it's called Louis Theroux. He's like a BBC presenter and journalist, and he interviewed him years ago. I've seen it before. Like, I know what he's all about, but I didn't know anything about him going to jail and all this kind of stuff. So that was quite new. And yeah, I just felt compelled to watch it because I don't think he's such a bad guy. I think he's just gone loopy. I think, people like that in those kind of industries, when it's so toxic between animal rights groups and what they're doing, and it's a whole different world. It's yeah, it wouldn't be fun, I don't think. So yeah, but that's interesting, sort of just watching that documentary. There's a lot of other things I want to watch on there as well that have come up now that I've after the 4-month break. And I'm just going to do that red. So I'm using that my new wonderful color beige. Just outline that. Yeah, so if you're not watched Tiger King, then it's not for the faint-hearted. But yeah, it's something. It's entertaining because the guy himself is quite entertaining. He's had quite a wild and varied and colourful life, I think. I mean, it's sad you don't want to see people in jail, but for what he did, I suppose, there's no real defence for it, I suppose. Yeah, but what else is good on the box? What else have I been watching? I think Tales in the Loop. I think I told you about that one. It's on Amazon Prime. That's a really good show. Dark is another really good show I watched on Netflix. I watched all 2 series. I'm still waiting for the 3rd series to come out. That's a German production, and it's the basic concepts of that show are time travel. There's this dark forest situated behind this small village somewhere in Germany, and contained within it, it's all sort of linked to this nuclear plant or something that's like adjoining that forest or in that particular town, and there's a history there, and anyhow, there's a particular cave in that forest that once you venture all the way through it and you find this secret sort of passage that leads you to this doorway, and upon entering it, these people are sort of transported back in time, I think 33 years in the past. It's a really interesting concept, great. There's a lot of characters in it. You've sort of got to concentrate on it, what's happening and what people are doing. But yeah, it's one of the gems that has come up that I was really quite impressed with. So if you've got Netflix, if you've not seen Dark, yeah, check it out. I'd recommend to watch it in German, not with the English dubbed version. I don't enjoy that at all. But yeah, watch it in German. It means you can't really sort of paint and watch it at the same time. Sadly, it's sort of one of those things you got to watch an episode and be glued to the screen and read what's going on. But yeah, that's a really good one. If you've got a recommendation for maybe on Netflix or Amazon Prime, let me know. What are you guys watching at the moment? what's captivating your imagination, or interests, or what do you like to watch or listen to when you're painting? I do like podcasts. I do follow a few of them. Meeples and Miniatures, which have now sadly ended. That was a good listen, even though it's mostly historical stuff. But I really enjoyed listening to, Neil and Mike and the other Mike talking about their hobby and what sort of stuff they're up to. They did do a lot of board games, and they did talk about fantasy games as well. Anything that's sort of war game related or game related. This is also in black here. I'm just taking my time and just taking it easy with this guy. I don't want to rush it. You know what I mean? You get sort of caught up in rushing paint jobs sometimes because you want to get it on the table. And I was talking to Justin about it the other day too. I don't want to rush into painting the Skaven because I'll just have to go back and just touch things up again later, and it sort of seems like a sort of counterproductive kind of thing. And character models, you want them to look really nice anyway and spend the most time on. So I don't think I mentioned it last time, but that competition, I'm going to let that go for like a week. So, by next Friday, I'll put the names of all the people that have commented in random.org. And then, that'll produce a winner, and then I'll announce it on that Friday. So again, with the shipping situation, I don't know where or when I can send it, so we'll just have to be patient on that, but you'll definitely get one of those brushes. And then I'll think about what the next one will be. Next sort of question to the community will be. And we'll go from there. Now the handle was going to be in gold, wasn't it? So let's get those colors out anyway. So I'm going to use that heavy gold brown. I really like this color for a gold, for non-metallic stuff. It's really cool. And to complement that, I use the heavy brown. They're both game colors. Now, from comments and questions received in the last day or so, and thanks for those. I think maybe Nick was the guy who asked me about the character that I least like painting. And I've been really struggling with that because I don't know what it could be or what it was, or if I have ever had a miniature or a character that I didn't like painting. Yeah, I don't know. So to be honest, to answer that, I really don't know or can't remember a character that I didn't enjoy painting, or had trouble painting, or just struggled with, or just wanted to get it over and done with. Yeah, so I have to think about that, mate. But that's a good question, though. Have you experienced, painting a character model that you didn't enjoy painting? That's a good question, actually, because maybe there were models that I'm just sort of putting on some more blue tack on the base. But yeah, maybe there are some models that were too challenging, or maybe you just didn't really, you wanted in your army but you really didn't like the miniature or something like that. I tell you what, this camera hoist, or what do you want to call it, this brace that's holding my phone, is so low down that it's difficult for me to actually paint like this. I'm sort of hunched under the camera now, or the phone, so it's really not good. So I'm going to have to start looking at alternatives for that, like real soon, basically, if I'm going to continue this every day. Now those little leather pleats on his shoulders were also red, so I'm going to use that wonderful beige again as like a primer for that. It's a base coat. If you can see that, sorry. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy this. I think one of the other guys commented saying that he was really happy that Gorfang was going to get done, and I think a few people, were quite happy that Gorfang was going to get painted, and I think it's been talked about in the Hero Hammer group. One of the guys had the model and he was contemplating whether to add a banner or not. And originally I didn't have a banner planned for him, but I thought, well, if I don't do it, and I paint it, and then it's going to be a real pain trying to get a banner attached to him and all that kind of thing. So I said, yeah, you should do it, and I'm going to do it too, basically. I think all characters should have banners. It's just like a given. Is it on the back too? Yeah, he does have on the back. Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a bit of black to that mix, to the whole red and ink, and I'm just going to go over again at the bottom. Brush in the water. And when you're painting, it's a good idea to, rinse out your water and change your water every now and again. Don't let it sit there for, several paint sessions. I do it after each paint session I like to rinse out my water, get some fresh water. And especially if you use metallic paints. If you use metallic paints, don't use the same water. As a general tip, have two pots of water, one to rinse out your metallic paints from your brush, and the other one just for regular paints. You don't want to mix those, have those metallic flakes in your water, because it'll get in your brush and it'll contaminate the other paint, and that's really not good. So you'll have like little flecks of metallic paint through your other paints when you're painting your model. How many times did I just say paint? I think quite a few. Just adding some of that blue mirage grey, or what it's called. You know what it's called now. French mirage blue, that's it. Just touching up those metal plates there. He's got quite a really dark coloured armour in the but obviously they're done in metallic paints, and this is done in non-metallic paints. I'm sort of trying to keep it similar to the other metals that I've done on the other boys, otherwise it'd be just too different and it'll look out of place. he's got like a real rusty kind of appearance, which Mike did a really good job on the metallics on those minis actually. On the Gorfang rock guard, I should say. But yeah, he looked really good in that coloured armour. But and in truth, I need to really work on that non-metallic metal on this guy, just to make sure it looks the best it can be. So that's going to take more work. Yeah, but like I said before, you know, it's a preference. You can do it in metallics, and if I was going to do that in metallics, I would probably start with a really dark base, like a really oily steel or something like that. I do have a few metallic paints here. If I can grab one of them. This is like natural steel. It's probably, you need something darker than that. Maybe like adding some. If you have a darker metallic than that, I'll probably use that, I'd say. But natural steel is not a bad colour, and then use that as a base, and then maybe if you want to get that sort of rusty look, add some sort of black and brown washes to that when it's dried. Yeah, use some sort of, add some brown ink to your black ink when you wash it, and maybe give it a couple of coats, a couple of washes of that, and I think you've got a colour very similar, kind of similar to what Mike did there. And then you can sort of highlight it again over the bit of the edges of the armour with that same metallic colour, the same silver. Now we're going 45 minutes now, guys, so I think I'm going to have to end it soon. Otherwise my phone just won't have enough memory. But okay, we made fairly little progress actually, to be honest. Quite disappointed in that sense, but we've got the foundations for the cloak done. Okay, so we know that I need to let that dry anyway, because we can't do anything that much more with it, because if I add another colour to it, like I'm going to add more black down to the base of that cloak, but it's still too wet for me to do that now. Okay, we started on the hand brace or wrist brace that he has there. We've had some layers on there. I might add some more layers on there, or just do some layering of all the red parts before the next video, and that way we can sort of just crack on with getting those done. I've got the handle base coated anyway, but it'll need some more work. I need another coat at least. So we've got some foundations built there. So then next video we can continue on with it, and we're going to see it through to the end, I hope. So I hope you enjoyed that anyway. You know, it's getting done, and we'll get finished, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Okay, so I'm going to add some more photographs, I hope, of miniatures that I'd seen through the week or today at the end. And I'm sorry, Andreas, for getting yours wrong. You did the Battle Wizards, which were really, really awesome. I really enjoyed looking at those on the Warhammer Renaissance, I think, group. Yeah, and I think you posted up on the Metal Hammer group or something like that as well. Yeah, they were really fantastic, mate. So sorry I got them mixed up with the Dogs of War. That was another person altogether. But I'm sort of posting up all these pictures. I'm forgetting who did what and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I really liked your Battle Wizards, and yeah, I hope to see more of those in the future. I do have that Amethyst Wizard somewhere. I haven't got him primed, but I do have. But I would like to get the painted. I do have one wizard that I would like to feature on the channel at some point, maybe. As I would like to finish him. I started him as the Patriarch, Supreme Patriarch, isn't he? So I have started that, and I would like to see that finished, because I really love the horse. He's got like that beautiful yellow horse with all those nice sort of freehand markings on there, like, you know, like these flaming suns and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and yeah, his uniform, that sort of yellow and red uniform, is not easy to paint. that's something, and doing all the lining in as well, the black lining in is quite difficult. But yeah, maybe if we have time, we can sort of look at doing him as well, and trying to get him finished in another video. But yeah, as I say, there's so many things to do, so many projects to get on with, so we've got plenty more to look at, guys. So maybe doing this daily is a good idea. I'm actually getting stuff done. Okay guys, so have a good one. I'll catch you in the next video, and take care. Alright, bye bye.